Welcome to another episode of Strange Times Poetry Broadcast. I'm coming to you live from the Poetry Bookshelf to read you 3 uplifting poems. Now, you may notice that I am wearing a winter hat because it is snowing outside. I don't really know why. The 3 poems that I'm going to be reading today are all talking about gratitude and different types of gratitude. I think I have a lot of questions about gratitude in this time because there's the wisdom that being grateful for something, noticing things that you're grateful for, it helps make you happier, it helps calm you down in difficult times. But at the same time, there's a lot of loss, there's a lot of difficulty going on right now. So to force yourself to feel gratitude when you're surrounded by some real challenges and pain, it's hard and maybe not even the right thing, because you shouldn't force yourself to feel grateful for something that's terrible. That seems sort of abusive. Anyway, these 3 poems get into that in one way or another. The first poem that I'm going to be reading is from Calling a Wolf by Kaveh Akbar, and this is from Alice James Books. Kaveh Akbar was originally a pressmate at Sibling Rivalry Press, but I don't know him, so I'm going to go with him as my first poem. And it's called I Won't Lie, This Plague of Gratitude. I won't lie. This plague of gratitude is hard to bear. I was comfortable in my native pessimism, not this sponge sugar fantasy. Last night I made actual cake. There were no worms in the flour, no bloody whirls in the eggs. Afterwards, the minor holiday below my waistband remained festive as ever when I touched 2 breasts. Each one was my favorite. Not long ago I was hard to even hug, like ribbons of cartilage cut from a lamb. I dressed in shredded roses and pistachio shells. I drank an entire language and flung tar at whatever moved until the world cut me open like a tube of paint, until it crushed me between its fingers like a hornet. None of it was graceful. I had to learn to love people one at a time, saying, "Hey, diddle diddle, will you suffer me a little?" How could they say no? How could they say anything? I kept biting their tongues. I kept clicking my heels. Now I'm cheery and Germanic like a drawer full of strudel. I always wanted to be a saint, but I thought I'd be one of the miserable ones, sainted by pain, burnt alive inside a brazen bull. Instead, I weep openly at obnoxious beauty. Cello music comes in from blocks away, and I lose it completely. There is a word for these fits of incomprehensible delight. I said it last night when my mouth was full of cake. I love this. In this poem, it's not the gratitude is almost unbearable because it's so new, that opening into optimism. I love that. I love how that's such a different way of writing a thank you poem. this this just opening into optimism. And I mean, I love some of the metaphors and similes in here. The world cut me open like a tube of paint until it crushed me between its fingers like a hornet. Delicious. And the German and happy and Germanic like a drawer full of strudel. That's pretty hilarious. But yeah, I really enjoy this poem. I love how it twists gratitude, how it feels so real. That idea of when you're a pessimistic person suddenly having a change, it's almost a plague of joy. Too much crying, too much happiness. I love it. It's very fun. All right, the next poem that I'm going to read is by a friend. Let's see. It is by Kayleb Candrilli. And I met Kayleb at the Lambda Literary Writers Workshop. And if you haven't had a chance already, I always have a button to give donations to Lambda Literary because they do so much for queer writers, supporting our community, helping young writers find their voice. They gave me a half scholarship to go to their conference many years ago, and it was life-changing. Anyway, I think Candrilli's poem is a gratitude poem in its noticing. A lot of the poems that I read are like, especially the love poems, in noticing your partner and the world that you build together. It doesn't say the word gratitude, but I think that noticing is a type of gratitude. So this is called Here We Are, Aging Together, Just Like We Said We Would. For your birthday, we pretend prehistoric. I fill our apartment with inflatable dinosaurs, scaly ice cream cake, and raw meat. You have always wanted a birthday just like this. Carbon dated back to before humans decided to chew all sorts of things. We play pretend so well, you can barely smell the plastic or remember anything about outside and the blood moon that hangs there red and waiting to become a whole new animal in your eyes. Time is passing. We can feel the second hand gently carving new trails along our skin. I recently eroded the landscape of my body by choice, and you drew a fresh map, topographical and understanding. My body was outside my body, and you kept the carnivores at bay. This is what we've promised one another, to try and live and live and live until the earth caves in. We have built a home, and the ceiling is so high, everything feels about to echo. All the things we say growing older and quieter and drifting further away. I think one of my favorite moments in this is the recognition of how partners allow each other to change. In this line, I recently eroded the landscape of my body by choice, and you drew a fresh map, topographical and understanding. The idea that the speaker decides to change their body and the partner makes a new map and is understanding. I just love that. It's a beautiful moment. And the high ceilings where things echo and drift away. Very peaceful. The poem drops off really slowly. Sometimes not having a dramatic ending on a poem is really delightful and the way to go. Just going off into the blank page. All right, my last poem, if I can find it, is by myself. It's called Nostalgia. And I think nostalgia is so interesting. So much of poetry has nostalgia in it because it's memories and that idea. I think that there is gratitude for the past in nostalgia. There's something you're yearning for, there's something you loved, and it's gone. And in a nostalgic poem you're recognizing it. And in some ways I think this poem is both for and against nostalgia, because as you'll see at the end, the speaker is on their way out. They're leaving. You can look back as much as you want, but they're not going back. Nostalgia. Sing me one more yellow song of oblivion. The neighbor's cursed chant as he leads the plow. Drooling oxen pirouette 8 legs into a single row. Last year I planted 2 foot-pressed yucca stems into waterlogged earth. The tajou trees bloom 7 days of yellow, the last trumpets of winter. The seeds are underground, and we can still dream of tubers larger than thighs before they sprout. I've returned my field to the weeds. It's how I say I've left. I love in this poem the idea of nostalgia of potential, the memory for when the seeds are in the ground and they could be anything before you get to the reality, and the nostalgia for that moment of potential is fun here. And in some ways, this poem argues that nostalgia is oblivion, being able to just drift off into the past and not have to deal with what's going on in the present is a type of power, type of oblivion. I don't know if this one is a positive poem. I think it's positive to me because it talks about flowers. I'm like, it's talking about plants. It has to be positive. Anyway, I hope that the hail and the snow did not ruin your or my garden. We'll find out soon. And in the meantime, and I hope to see you soon, in the meantime, stay safe, stay sane, and good night. Bye!